How's it going? David from Comic Book Investments. So I just watched HBO Max's Creature Commandos, and this is James Gunn's basically the start of his DCU, or not EU. I think it says DCU. Now he did do Suicide Squad 2 and Peacemaker, but that was before he was at the helm. This is basically the start of his vision going forward. Before the DCEU, we had Zack Snyder, and we all know how that turned out. Pretty not good. Very not good. A couple okay movies in there, but just overall, that Batman v Superman. Oh my god! And honestly, Man of Steel wasn't that great. I mean, it was amazing compared to everything else, but it lacked what it lacked. And I'm very hopeful for James Gunn because James Gunn can do it. Is it lacked heart. It had like very little heart in it. Visually, it looked amazing, but it was all style, no substance. That was a common complaint of Image back in the 90s. All style, no substance. So maybe Zack Snyder read too many Image comic books. Had no heart in there. So I watched Creature Commandos. I was kind of interested in it because I don't know the character, so therefore it's more appealing to me that I go in not really knowing anything. So if they do something that's not supposed to, like, oh, this character is not supposed to be that way, it doesn't really rub me the wrong way as opposed to maybe a character that I hold really near and dear. And I'm like, whoa, that character wouldn't do that. That kind of thing. So I watched it. First episode, honestly, if they didn't have two back to back, I probably wouldn't watched another episode. It was very just, in my opinion, the first episode was very generic anime cartoon. Superhero stuff. The fight scene towards the end, where he fights with Dr. Phosphorus, I think his name is, that one was pretty cool. I was like, okay, because I was watching the animation, I was like, oh, this is kind of cheap animation, like barely any moving, just really using the same frames as they walk. But then I could see why, because it's called like pencil mileage, where you save up your pencil mileage for a big fight scene. And it was quite long and quite intense. And I was like, at first, I was like, oh, it's going to end any time. And I was like, oh, kept going. And I was like, very cool. So that kind of gave me a little hope. And so then I watched the next episode because they had two. And they were kind of short, like 20 minutes long, I think. And this episode was good. It was very good. Actually, great. It had what Zack Snyder lacks, heart. I actually cared about the characters. The first episode, didn't know who the characters were. Didn't really care too much about them by the end of the episode. Maybe liked a few here and there, but overall didn't really care much. Then the next episode, it looks like it's going to showcase each monster one at a time and kind of tell backstory and all that kind of stuff. At the end of it, I was like, yes, I care about this character, the one that was showcased. So, and that was, I think, a lot of people overlook about with James Gunn is what he's really good at. So think about Guardians 3. Like, he had Rocket in his origin story and his friends that had passed on. And it's like you start caring about these characters, and that's what I really like. That's what gets me more engaged. Not just, like, obviously I like cool action, but I want to be more engaged with the characters. I want to actually care if the characters are in peril or if they're going to die. And so when it's the final scene and you're like, oh no, don't die. And it's like, I want to care. I want to feel that. I don't want to be like just watching a screen. I'm like, I could care less if this character dies or not. I'm like, whoop-de-doo, and that's kind of like Zack Snyder's problem is I did not care about really any of the characters beyond my pre-biased notion of them. So for example, like Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I already have a pre-biased about them. I already like them because of decades of me watching cartoons, comic books, all that kind of stuff. So going in there, I already have like somewhat of a care. But he actively makes me sometimes care less about the characters going in. I mean, I know The Flash isn't his movie, but he was, I think, in charge of the whole thing, kind of like Kevin Feige at Marvel. And he did pick Ezra Miller to be Flash. So that was his pick. And I could not stand him in Justice League, and I couldn't stand him even more in The Flash. He was just so annoying. And so that was Zack Snyder's. I did not care what happened to Barry Allen at all. Personally, I wish he would have died. But yeah, so Creature Commandos, I liked it. I really did. I'm going to continue watching it. I think it comes out on Thursdays, a new episode. I really wish they just drop everything all at once. I really don't want to just wait. When I sit and wait for things, I forget about them, and then I never watch them. But I do like when it's a really, really good show. I'm like, oh boy, it's whatever day, it's Thursday, Tuesday, whatever. And then I'm like, yes, I can't wait to watch X, Y, and Z show. But there's only 7 episodes anyway, so it's not very long. So they should have just dropped it all at once. He did do Peacemaker, which if you haven't seen Peacemaker season 1, I highly recommend it. It is very, very good. It was surprisingly good. I was actually, I'm not going to watch the dumb show. It looks stupid. And then and even the intro looked pretty dumb. And I was like, oh, he has like this eagle. It's like this stupid rock song. It's just dumb. And, but then I ended up loving it. The show was great. I will say that one thing I really don't like about the Creature Commandos is the music. It's not really my cup of tea, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest. There's a few parts, a few jokes. I'm like, ugh, bad jokes. But I know he likes the off-the-wall music, and this is just like, this is not appealing at all. And it's too much. It's like long, long, long songs. Yeah, I don't know. Invincible does it great when they put in the music in there. Much, much better. It's when you go for like off-the-wall music, you're really only... That's the thing with off-the-wall music. You go with off-the-wall music, it can be like a band or an artist that you've never heard of, and that's fine. But when it's so out there, it's just a turnoff for most people. Unless you like that style, which is like less than 1% of people that will like the style. It's just like, ugh. So if you went for more, I don't know, just better music. Like, that's the thing. This music isn't like, it's not like, oh, it's bad music, as in like musically it's bad or whatever. It's just weird. It would be like, it's like weird circus music. Like, that is not appealing to most people. Now, it could be correct, the way it's written, the way, you know, all the chords are and all that kind of stuff, and the singing and the mixing and the mastering. That could be all produced flawlessly, but it's a bad style. It's not even just a bad song. It's a bad style. It's like an unappealing style. So I would really wish he would change that, or I wish it would stop. Just stop. Just don't have any more of that stuff in there. I don't want to hear it. It's long. So it's not like, oh, it's just 30 seconds. No, it's like minutes of this, and you're just like, ugh. Especially when the show's only 20 minutes long and you have 2 minutes of some random weird song. Yeah, no. I'm sorry. Doesn't work for me. But other than that, I like the show. So I'm very optimistic about James Gunn's DCU going forward. And I think, honestly, it's going to be better than Zack Snyder's. The hard thing is he's going to have to start at the bottom, because Zack Snyder came in, DC was already good and going well, and Zack Snyder's like brought it up a little bit, and then everyone just like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. So now James Gunn has to start way down here and tell people and convince people, like, look. So he has a way harder. It's like building a business that has already failed and everyone hates it already, versus getting a business that's already successful. Like, imagine if I took over, I don't know, Apple computers. They made a few. Tim Cook's not the best, but if I took it over, it's smooth sailing. Like, I have to be really, really bad to tank that thing, and that's basically Zack Snyder. So now this company, DC, is basically in shambles. No one cares about the movies. It doesn't matter who you put in the film, whatever. You literally have to start off in bankruptcy and have to build from the ashes. So James Gunn has a much, much harder task ahead of him. So I think he's good, though. I liked pretty much most of the things I know that I've seen of his, but he's always had the Guardians and the Peacemaker show and a couple other things I've seen. So high hopes. Have a great day.